Did You Have To is a proud member of the But Why Though podcast community.
Welcome back to Did You Have To, the podcast where two bad bitches talk about anime. And here are your hosts, Kate and Nisha. Yeah! Nisha's quirk, stress ball. By internalizing her stress about the world being in chaos and crime, she converts that stress into a superpower, becoming a badass. Kate's quirk, waifu warrior. By just watching her favorite shows, she can manifest real or fictional characters into the real thing. They come to life and fight by her side. Not every character does it, though. She has to find the individual really hot. Yeah!
Hey everybody, where did you have to? And I'm Kate.
And I'm Nisha.
And today we're talking Himbos.
Yes.
I'm really, really excited. If you listened to us before, you know that we love our anime men. You also know that we love them tall and broad. Mm-hmm. But you may not know that we also love them as Himbos.
We have range, is what we're saying.
We can do the evil maniacal villain, the wise daddy, and the lovable dumbass Kimbo.
Big hearts, empty minds. Even bigger chest.
And so the one of the main reasons that we're doing this is because earlier in the week, somebody had tweeted out a take on Himbos that was essentially saying that people were ableist for liking Himbos because we were attracted to them because they were stupid, or less intelligent was the words used. And that started a whole bunch of discourse online where the Himbo Defense Squad, as I like to call it, arose. And specifically, Matt sent me the tweet, and he was like, oh yeah, look at this. I was like, this is bad. And I just got quiet. We were sitting in bed, we were getting ready to go to bed. I was just tweeting. He's like, oh my God, what have I done? And he just rolled over and started watching TV. And I was like, yep, you did this. You should have known how I would react to protect my mans.
And I think then you told me about it, and I'm like reading it, and I was just like, I'm trying to process it, because as I was processing it, I'm like, pause, what? Like, that's not why we're attracted to them. And that's like, they're not dumb. Like, dumb in the sense of like being less intelligent and can be taken advantage of. Like, no, what? So
exactly.
That fired me.
I did. And we decided to talk about them on here because it's a perfect topic because there are a bunch of himbos in anime. But before we get started, I do want to do a little bit of Today in Weeb.
Yes.
So on the news item, God of High School has is it King of High School or God of High School?
God of High School.
God of High School, yes.
Yeah.
God of High School has a release date, which is next week, or the following week, July 7th. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be really fun. It's a webtoon. Nisha is way more familiar with it than I am. But the trailers look really dope. So I'm excited on that way.
I'm very excited for it too, because I've been on a webtoon binge probably for the last year, just because there's just so many good webtoons, and I love that like webtoons made like all these deals last year, like having exclusive deals made with, I think Webtoon, the company, made a deal with Crunchyroll, whereas like some famous webtoon authors have also made their own separate deals with Netflix. So we're getting a lot of new webtoon anime that are going to be coming within the next 2 years. So God of High School is one that's super popular. It's very big. I got into it relatively, I'm probably like last month is when I got into it, because I'm like, oh, I'm finally going to read this one because I heard about the anime coming out. And I like it. It's definitely, what is that? Folklore Western journey, Journey to the West. There's hints of that, which like, and also it is like very much, I feel like it pays homage to, shonen, like very shonen. And I like that the author leans into it very heavily of like, this is shonen. Because even the main character, he's like, I'm the best fighter in the world. No one can defeat me. Hey, you, fight me. I'm the best fighter, undefeated. Yeah. And it's just like, what is this kid? But it's so good, and I can't wait to see it animated.
And then on the other side is something I am super hyped for as well. Crunchyroll also released the very first trailer for Onyx Equinox, which is an anime based on Aztec mythology, following an Aztec boy. I'm so excited because if you don't know, if you're not Mexican American, you don't know how much Aztecs mean to Chicanos, because a lot of what happened during the early Chicano movement was that people who had been in the U.S. for a long time, who are like second generation, third generation people, they felt, and this is something I can speak to now because like I'm an 8th generation, like Hannah, like we've pretty much always been in Texas, but like it's one of those things where like for a lot of Mexican Americans, the idea of the Mexica or the Aztecs was something that grounded us in who we were before we were colonized. So there's this mythical idea of Aztec connection between a lot of them, and some Chicanos are like completely full of shit with it, but others use it to showcase what we could have been had we not been colonized. And so for me, as much as it's a Mesoamerican myth, it is, or a Mesoamerican anime, it's also a very Mexican anime, in that it's something that is going to connect to a lot of people like me who grew up with giant murals of Aztec warriors holding sexy ladies on like the project sides, because like we call them the courts, but it's kind of like the projects, but like it was just called the courts, was specifically what we called it,
right?
And all of those had either pictures of saints or giant pictures of like Aztec temples and big murals of Aztec warriors and stuff like that. So it was really cool growing up because it was a really poor neighborhood, but there was a big beauty in it when you would get to see how much like Aztecs and Mexica meant to people as like a way to getting out of a lot of the poverty and stuff. So I'm excited.
You have a right to be. That's awesome. Yeah. I think I remember you telling me about it when it was first announced, and like you were just like, look what we're getting. And I'm just like, this looks dope. So I'm excited to see it and come out, especially when it's like when you talk about like, and I remember this because this isn't my Today in Weeb, but like what I recently watched was like, I've been watching Fate Grand Order. And I don't know if you got to the part where the Aztec god came out.
I have not seen.
I warn you now.
Is he white?
She white. And she blonde, and like Quetzalcoatl. I'm probably butchering the name.
That's good. You good?
Yeah. So I'm like, I love Fate. I love the Fate series, but like, y'all didn't have to do this. You literally could have made her Latina. You didn't have to do this. She is blonde, and they gave her like a Spanish accent, and I'm just like, this feels wrong on so many levels. So
it's real wrong.
On multiple levels. And I'm just like, Fate, what the fuck are y'all doing? So yeah, I'm so happy for this anime, because like, if you want Aztec culture and it not to look hella, appropriated, literally appropriated. Yeah.
Ma'am.
Yeah.
That looks like somebody watched Carnival in Rio and was like, we're going to do that, but we're going to put it on a white lady and we're going to call her Quetzalcoatl.
And her accent is terrible.
It's
so bad.
Okay.
Yeah. But
I can't wait till we talk about Onyx, because fun fact, really cool thing for us, we're doing we're doing work with Crunchyroll now. We get access to for reviews and stuff like that. So we're really excited for that. So you can expect more reviews from us on Crunchyroll content. But like, I want this. I want Onyx Equinox so bad. And I did check. There are some of us on the inside. There are some brown people working on this. So I was a little worried at first, but we're there.
We love to see it. Behind the scenes and in front of the scenes. We want to see representation. Love it. So I'm excited. Yeah, that's good. But yeah, I guess Onyx Equinox will be my Today in Weeb. I know it was news, but it's hyped up all my brain. So that, and I really haven't done anything except read the manga that I've been reviewing, Incurable Case of Love #4, Prince Fey #2. And I would like to do an episode on how light novels are just fan fiction, and I can't break that from my head. Yes, let's do that. Because Ace #1, One Piece, yes, fan fiction. And I need volumes #2 already, please. Oh, so good. But no, we could definitely do a light novel. Oh my God, there's so many. Okay, never mind. Yeah, but let's move on, because we'll go down a rabbit hole. What's your Today in Weeb? My Today in Weeb, man, I've been watching Lupin.
You always go back to Lupin.
I do. He's always there for me. Specifically,
That's
I've been
the
watching.
most Lupin's ever been there for anyone.
Yeah, he's the most dependable man in my life, besides my father. But no, I actually started. I always tell Kate this, like, I love the classic Lupin, like the 70s Lupin. And it's like terrible and it's trash, but also I'm just like, I don't know. It's like why people watch the old Scooby-Doo episodes. But
yeah,
I recently started watching, this is also on Crunchyroll, the Lupin the Third Part 5. Yeah, and it's really good. It introduces a new character to the gang for, like, the first 4 episodes. And she's like a teenage girl. She's a hacker. She's a genius. And like Lupin, like, it's like spirits away her from like captivity. And then like he's showing her like what life is like. Why is life in the outside world so enjoyable? Because she even questions Lupin. I think it's a very simple answer. And she asks him, like, you're rich. You don't need more money. Why do you keep stealing? Like, why do you do this? And he's just, and she's like, and she wanted that answer. And then she's like, I finally figured it out. It's because it's fun. And it's just a very simple answer. Like, yes, This is why Lupin does these things. But yeah, it's a good season so far and I'm enjoying it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised, but also intrigued.
I know. Just watch it.
Okay. But now we're going to turn our eyes to the Himbos.
Yes.
And we're going to start with a definition. And I went ahead and read through a lot of threads and as well as have my definition of how I describe a himbo. But a himbo specifically is a male character who is large, broad, tall, buff. He is physically everything that you expect from a toxically masculine character. He's hyper masculine, he's gigantic, he's muscle bound. But the simplistic answer is he's that, and he's also unintelligent. So he's attractive and he's unintelligent. But what fandoms and people have specifically female or female and femme fans have seen in these characters, which presents a really good commentary on how we consume media, and ultimately how just calling them unintelligent, like that original tweet did, removes a lot of the narrative weight that himbos have. And that is the fact that they are the exact opposite of being toxically masculine. And that is something that is real important, because a himbo most of the time he's not unintelligent. He just leads with his heart. So you're going to get somebody who is very caring. You're going to get somebody who is very emotional. You're going to get somebody who is not afraid to exhibit moments of weakness. And it is going to essentially what himbos do for women in fandom is specifically presents them with a character that doesn't have all of the toxicity that we're used to. I say, as somebody who likes very violent villains, there's a safety in himbos. A himbo would never hurt you. A himbo would lay his life on the line for you immediately without second guessing, and he would cry by your side if you needed it. That's a himbo, and that's why they're a very important storytelling device, especially now that we're getting a lot more of parody anime. So like JoJo, because JoJo is very satirical and definitely embraces himbo to the full effect, but also things like One Punch Man and even Magical Girl Ore. So I think that the himbos are here to stay. And from what I saw, the term started in the 80s and it resurged when Magic Mike was coming out. And then it's now just kind of like taken into little fandom circles as just definitions for characters.
It's interesting. You have us like a nice little lesson on the history of himbos. No, but I like that. I like that explanation of it better than people just assuming, oh, it's just dumb buff men, because it really does belittle like their story and their character development, or like just their impact on whatever series they're in, because I've never thought of himbos as being stupid or being less intelligent. I don't want to say stupid, just being less intelligent. They just like use, I think you said it when we were tweeting, it's like full hearts, you know, and they think with their emotions. It's emotional, not what's the word? They don't just leap before they think. They're thinking with their hearts. Like they're more emotionally driven characters that are driven to protect the ones they love or care about. But
sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and that's what makes them not intelligent, because they're with their heart, which means they're opening themselves to be taken advantage of. Like they're gonna trust somebody first.
Yes, there's plenty of examples of that. So it's like they could be seen as naive, but it's like they're not naive. They're just like, you know, they think with their hearts and they're trusting and they're protective, and you know, they deserve love, and that's why we're here to give them love.
They really do. Okay, so the fun part of the episode. Who are our favorite himbos?
Brought a list.
Begin. Class is in session.
Okay.
Everybody will finish this episode with a degree in himbo studies, and we will give you anime as your starter courses.
Yes. Oh, I love that. We are professors of himbology, if you will. I think Grant said that. So yes. we are professors of himbology. So I'm not going to say all of these are my favorites, but these are ones that I think really stuck out, and I think they deserve to be noted. First and foremost, Guts from Berserk. That man cares. He's a sunder and a daddy and a himbo all in one. But we'll get into our Sunder and Daddy episodes another time and explain those. But my point is, Guts very much comes off as like this cold and like non-caring character. But like as time goes on, he cares about his comrades. He thinks with his heart, with his actions. But he also is very one-track minded sometimes because of that, and leaps into danger, or takes on an entire horde of enemy like soldiers to protect one person. He will lay his life down for his woman.
he does.
Yeah. So no, that's like one of my first. Do you want to go back and forth, or should we just like kind of go down a brief list?
I think let's go back and forth.
Okay.
So I would say that another one of my favorite himbos is, but is he a himbo? See, this has been a hard thing. So I actually think that Ichigo is a himbo. Yes. Because Ichigo does not think, the boy does not think. And this is really hard because I realize that I'm still in love with Ichigo, but now I'm almost 30 and Ichigo is still young. But I found him when I was young, so we're not going to have that conversation.
You're fine.
Ichigo has always been a really great character for me because there are lots of parts of him that could easily be cold and calculating, and we see a little bit of that when he first gets introduced because he's seen as he fights other kids and other high school students, and then you get to see the soft side of him where you realize, oh no, he's fighting because he's doing it to help the ghosts out. And that's kind of his same deal throughout the entire series, is that every action he takes, it's not just him being super masculine, it's him subverting that by it coming from a deep emotional place. And there are so many moments where he just does not know how to think, but he acts, and he acts out of love and care. And that's something that I think is really important. But it's also one of the reasons why he gets into so much trouble.
I agree. I do agree. We should just honestly make this a game of, are they a himbo or not?
Are they a himbo? Yep.
But no, I think that's a great point with Ichigo. Because, I mean, he protect and he attack, but he don't always think, even though he's smart. So then I guess my question for you, would you count, and I go back and forth with this, but I'm confident in saying that Brawley, specifically Super's Brawley, is a himbo.
Yeah, he'd be a himbo.
Right. And it's like, because the first iteration of Brawley is just super hyper masculine, very toxic, but this iteration of him, again, very hyper masculine, super strong. He is a berserker type also, but he goes berserker based off of his feelings.
Exactly.
But Super's Brawley shows us that he has a very compassionate heart and he cares. So he's not just a massive muscle fighting and killing anything and everything.
Exactly.
So
yeah, if anything, like that's one of the things. I think Brawley is a great example of a himbo, because if you look at Dragon Ball Super Brawley, like as a movie and his story in it, he comes up in entirely like in toxic masculinity. That emotion is effectively pushed out of him, and
literally with the shock collar.
Exactly. And parts of him still holds on to it. And so I think that when you look at a himbo as a subversion of what we see as typically masculine and what we see as typically strong, and you see this new side, I think Brawley is an excellent example of that. You go, girl.
Thank you.
Good
I know my himbos. I know my Brawley. Who you got next?
So this one was hard.
Okay.
Because I didn't know if he would count because he's not hyper masculine, but it's masculinity defined by like.
I want to guess. Okay, never mind. You go.
Yeah. So part of me wanted to say Kenshin from Rurouni Kenshin, but he is less dumb and emotional and more calculating when he has to be and chooses to be emotional. But then I started thinking Sasuke Sagara. The giant sword guy in Kenshin, he is a himbo.
He radiates himbo. Yes.
He big himbo energy. All he does is eat, drink, and attack. And he protect when he needs to. He is completely built for protection. He loves deeply, even though he pretends not to. I also think there's a little bit of tsundere in him too, where he is cold and warms up, but I think ultimately he is a himbo. Because I wouldn't trust that man to strategize a damn thing.
Yes. I feel like that is also a legit trait
Sanosuke.
of himbos.
I said Sasuke. Sanosuke Sagara. So I don't get added to oblivion.
Oh, God. No, don't worry. The ashy anime fans don't know nothing about Kenshin. I'm confident. All
they do is watch Dragon Ball Z and retweet and repeat and act like it's going,
Yes, the ones who are not ashy would be like, they would forgive you and not attack us. So, so here's one that I'm sure is on both of our lists. Trevor Belmont.
Yep.
Yeah.
My whip boy.
Yep. Again, another one who has multiple facets. Daddy and a himbo. I love it.
So I actually don't think he's a daddy.
I think he could be my daddy.
That is a different conversation, ma'am. Different conversation. What you and him do with that whip in the bedroom is something very different than what he is as an archetype.
I know. Okay, fine. He's my daddy. But yes, you're right. So he's not a daddy. He's my daddy. But I hope my parents never listen to this show. God.
Oh, Matt never listens to this show. I'd be in big trouble.
Oof. Probably.
He already sees me posting about needing a Vegeta body pillow, so
knows what's up. But no, so seriously, Trevor Belmont, again, out of the three main characters, him, Sypha, and Alucard, we do not trust Trevor to necessarily come up with the attack plan to kill Dracula. He just knows he's going to kill Dracula. And I'm just specifically using season 1 because Trevor knows his shit. Trevor knows how to kill monsters. But if we're talking about calculating a plan to kill Dracula, that man went up to Dracula and punched him square in the face and nothing happened. So his whole plan was to just like go in, like whips a-blazing. But he did it. He does his job. He's the muscle. He comes in, he cares. I think he can come off as being like, you know, in the beginning, people would assume he's like toxic masculinity, but at the same time, like the way he treats Sypha, not as a damsel but as a partner, truly
respects her.
Yes, he respects her, and there is a level of respect where like he trust her to have his back. And I think that's something great, but like they'll protect one another and fight side by side, which Himbos, I feel like that's another trait, is that like being able to trust their comrades, especially female, to be able to do their job and not feel like they have to step in and save them.
It's like unwavering loyalty as well. It's the willingness to follow somebody into badness because you're just trusting that that nothing bad is going to happen because that they're leading you right. It's the respect he shows her nonstop. And I think for me, the biggest piece of seeing Trevor as more of a himbo than just like a regular like comic relief protagonist, because he's fairly aggressive in the early seasons, but when you watch season 3 of Castlevania, he's very much under Sypha. In more ways than one. He's very much under her leadership, even though they see each other as equals. He understands that she is stronger and he respects her for it. And I think that that's the importance of a himbo, is that even though they have the physical presence to be more intimidating, to push more, they respect the people around them, especially women, to take care of themselves and to be seen as equal. So
yeah, I agree.
Ooh, I need another one now. So I would also say that when we look at himbos, it's hard too, because like I'm trying to think of like who technically I would count as himbo just from like their size, but then there are some that are like fairly small where I maybe wouldn't. But I think that probably you have to look at again, honestly, just all the Joes. All of the JoJo's in JoJo's.
Yes.
Every single one of them. And there's a reason for that. And I just want to give a big shout out to Senior Reads, who was on for our JoJo episode. All of those men are made specifically to be himbos, to subvert what shonen is, by Akari, who's their creator. So I think that it's really important to at least list all of them. Probably Josuke is probably the biggest of the himbos in my opinion. He's really funny. He's really really heartfelt. And he's really gullible. And I think that there are parts of them in, like Joseph Joestar in the first one, like he's extremely gullible. He's extremely trusting. That's why Dio gets to do all the crap he does.
Yeah.
And that for me is one of the things that I would say, if we were to put himbo Mount Rushmore, at least one of the JoJo's is going to be on there, or you could just put 5 JoJo's on there and it would actually be a solid Mount Rushmore of anime himbos.
Yes, that's very accurate. And from the little bit of JoJo I have heard from you, Senya, and just like GIFs and episodes I've watched, cannot second that enough. Yeah, JoJo have himbos. So I got into my other part of my list is also just like I kind of had the same feeling. Whereas, like, I feel like there are himbos that may not physically have the appearance of a himbo, but they have the, the persona of a himbo, which I think from our tweet, we were, like, asked, and yesterday we got a few back and forth, and people asked different ones. So, like, 2 of them I thought to throw out there that it would be interesting for us to talk about briefly is Inuyasha and Roy Mustang. Himbo energy, but are they himbos?
So I would say Inuyasha, no, because Inuyasha very much upholds a lot of toxically masculine features, specifically in how he treats Kagome. Like he, okay.
I know.
I love Inuyasha. I still got the biggest crush on him.
We all brother, have a crush.
His brother better, but the way he treats, like, a himbo would never yell woman at a female character.
Right.
Right? Like Inuyasha very much represents a piece of masculinity. And honestly, all of the men of Inuyasha are. Moroku is like the typical like pervy character.
Yep.
Inuyasha's peculiar is like the exact same toxic masculine character, and so is Koga.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't really think there's an example of a himbo in Inuyasha. I do think he has that energy, because when the boy thinks about Kikyo, like all sense is gone.
Yes.
But I think just because of how he talks about and to Kagome, I don't think he could be a himbo proper. Himbo light, maybe.
Agreed. I mean, I don't count him as a himbo, like, just because, like, physically wise, I don't see him as himbo. Himbo energy, himbo light, yes, but to your point, it's the toxic masculinity that Inuyasha keeps and does not change, like, at all, or if any, is what keeps him from being a himbo. Like, I think to some point in the series, he trusts Kagome's ability, but let's be honest, the series doesn't even trust Kagome's ability fully.
No. Final act is better than the proper series.
Yeah.
But it still ain't there.
It's not there. So we'll see what happens in the sequel. But who was the other? Oh, Roy Mustang was the other one I threw out there, because someone had mentioned it, and I'm like, you know what? I don't see it. Roy is emotional, but he also has never like been toxically masculine towards anyone.
So and if anybody's listening and knows a trope for like the logical character, because I think I see Roy Mustang as somebody who keeps his actually Roy Mustang not admitting to crying is an example of toxic masculinity, because he won't admit that he's crying because it shows weakness.
That's right.
Roy Mustang does not show weakness, which is why the end of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is so powerful when Riza is helping him fight while he's blinded, because he's actually giving away some of that control for her. So I don't think Roy Mustang doesn't fit himbo, because he understands how to manipulate people. He understands how to strategize, and he's ultimately like, while he is doing things that he believes is morally right, he's not gullible.
Exactly.
Like, he's not gonna let his heart get in the way of his mission. And so I think that's what keeps him from himbo. Armstrong, though. Armstrong is a himbo.
Armstrong is a himbo. That was my next one. That was going to be my, So
go into it.
Yep. No, that man is a himbo. If you want a definition, if there was a patron saint of himbos, it's him. It is Colonel Armstrong. That's it. I don't know what else to say. That man cares with his heart, and he fights with his chest. He literally, anytime he got to fight or throw hands for Ed and Al, it is like, I got you, boys. And it's adorable, but it's just like, he really does care. And it's like, you see when you're first introduced to him, I think it's very easy to be like, here's this super tough and buff and big as hell, like, army man. But this man, he openly cries. He is not afraid to cry or ashamed to say when he is crying. He also respects and acknowledges his sister's strength when it comes to like fighting her for it to be head of the family.
Yeah.
He's like, they don't pull punches. I mean, maybe he was, I don't remember. But point is, he has no problem fighting women, but in a way that is respectful in battle, not as in like he is not beating on women. And like, that man is a himbo.
He himbo. 100%.
Yep. Very himbo.
Nothing to add. You broke it down perfectly.
Any more?
Let's see. I mean, All Might. All Might is himbo.
All Might is definitely himbo. Yes. All Might for sure.
All Might has all of that himbo energy, which is hard. So I feel like, I don't know how to explain. So I feel like himbo may be that category of a himbo who has transformed almost into a daddy. Like we're seeing a himbo at the end of his lifespan after he's learned from his himbo ways.
Yes.
But like, he's still a very emotional, like, All Might is Daddy Himbo and Deku is Baby Himbo. And when Deku grows up and gets the big body that All Might has, Deku will be Himbo. That's how it's gonna work. I don't want that boy to grow up with that.
I don't want that boy to grow into that body. I need him to stay normal looking. It's gonna look so weird. I'm just like imagining his head on All Might's body.
Oh no, I don't want that. Nobody Photoshop that, please.
No one Photoshop that, please. But no, that's very true. Baby himbos. Oh, we forgot about the baby himbos. Because yes, they both are himbos. And I don't know, maybe it's a trait of the quirk. But
if you have one for all, you must be himbo.
Did you cry?
You know what? Actually, though, no. Okay, so off of anime into anime. Because for the longest time, and I think it's because the creator of My Hero is so fascinated with comic books. I know he based Deku on Spider-Man, but I very much think the power of One for All is like Mjolnir. Like, you have to be pure of heart to have one for all. You have to be worthy to have one for all with how they talk about it. So if you look at Thor, who is worthy, he's himbo. So only himbos are pure of heart, and only himbos can have the power of one for all. Therefore, himbos are the best of us.
That level of dissertation, ma'am. Just amazing. No, but that is a very good point. And that I think that adds more lore to the quirk than I've ever heard or ever read so far. But I think that's a great point because even when you look at the lineage of who's held that quirk, I think it's from All Might to Deku, All Might was looking for somebody that he could entrust with it. So there is also that lore that Thor has is only those who are worthy can will.
Who else was in the running? Miryu. He's also baby himbo. So I stand that to be the worthy, you must be a himbo.
Drop mic. Just I tip my hat to you, madam. Yes, that is excellent. Oh, that's so good. So would that technically make Bakugo a baby himbo as well? Because he was able to win.
That's fair. So Bakugo is like a Tsundere himbo hybrid.
Okay. I see. Yes, I agree with that. Because
he's warming up now. We're getting that.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? With the fight with Uraraka, that is very evident. People would look at Bakugo and say that's just cruel and how he's treating a girl and blah blah blah. But no, that was respectful that he went at her as hard as he did, because had he treated her like a girl and fought and not have gone all out, he would have been disrespectful to her and underestimating her powers. So flip it, and he's cried. Okay, we've that is 3 for 3 from My Hero Academia. So I feel like I'd be remiss not to mention this one, but let's talk about Goku being a himbo. I feel like it's a very obvious one, but I think to be specific, and Grant, shout out to Gilmore Ball Z's Grant, he made a very good point. And basically, I at first was like, nah, I don't think of him as a himbo. And then he schooled me, and he's like, no, Angry Goku is himbo. And by default, all Saiyans are also himbos. So that means Vegeta is it just the way he did it, he schooled me, and I need to pull it up. But I don't know if you have something to add while I look it up about.
I mean, I will say of all the Saiyans we've gotten, they turn okay. So I still don't necessarily buy Vegeta's himbo because he's in that toxic masculinity. He ain't coming out. He loves one woman and his wife, and that's Bulma.
Yep.
He don't give a shit about the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that he's a himbo at all. I think Goku is a himbo in the exact same way that Superman is a himbo.
Yes. Again, you connected comics. I love it. So my bad. To be specific, Grant said, I submit that Goku is only a daddy when he's mad, and at which point he stops being a himbo. Never the twain shall meet. However, all Saiyans are himbos / herbos. Thank you for shouting out the female Saiyans. So that means Bardock is a himbo daddy.
Yes.
Which I agree. I agree. But I think it makes a good point because Goku, I don't want to call Goku dumb. I have come to a certain level of respect for him, but he still be dumb. Like, it's like, I'm not calling you dumb, but you be dumb. And in a sense, we're like, Goku is very one-track minded and focused on being the strongest and fighting stronger people, but it's not out of a toxic like a traditionally toxic masculine way, but he also does use strength and power to protect his loved ones.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's what makes him a himbo.
Yeah.
It's just
except for
weird.
Except for when he got his son almost killed. But
yes, yeah, and he gave a sensu bean.
In that moment, he was neither himbo nor daddy.
No, just a dumbass. Listen, I got dragged on Twitter when I said it, but this man caused the tournament of power, or whichever tournament that happened. It didn't have to happen, but they were like, and people were like, but it was gonna happen anyways. I'm like, but he actively went and made it happen, which means he almost caused everyone to be erased and killed because he wanted to fight the strongest people.
A himbo.
A
himbo.
That is a himbo. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe reading Dragon Ball Super's manga has opened my eyes to appreciate Goku to a certain level, but he's still dumb sometimes. But he's a himbo kind of dumb.
Yeah.
So, did we have any more?
We'll say. I don't have any more. No, I was gonna say we should definitely wrap up because I'm running close on time. But no. I don't have any more at all. So I think ending it on the blueprint of anime himbo makes sense. And there are a lot more that we didn't cover. So if you're listening right now, tweet at us and tell us who your favorite himbo is, so we can talk about it. Or if you disagree with one of our himbo choices, tell us why in a respectful way.
Please. Just be respectful. And I'm going to say this because you already mentioned it, I just don't agree with the take. And I feel like hopefully after this episode, people will understand where we're coming from and have another appreciation for himbos in anime. Because they deserve to be there. I think they are worthy.
They are worthy, and they are a strong force against toxic masculinity and normalizing it. Or normalizing not being toxic, normalizing emotions, normalizing caring, all of that matters.
You can be strong and cry.
Yep.
Well, with that, where can they find us, Kate?
You can find us at DYHT_pod on Twitter, and you can find me at OhMyMythRandier on Twitter.
You can also find me on Twitter at LA_NEY_SHA. And with that, who's your favorite himbo? Can your himbo be a daddy too? And when are we going to do our anime daddy episode? Find out next time on Did You Have To? Bye. Did You Have To is co-produced by Kate Sanchez and Lanisha Campbell. Our intro is done by Dr. Emery Stephen Daniel. And our outro and intro music is by Benjamin Tissot, aka Ben Sonic.